Picture this. On May 21st, 1819, the first bicycle was introduced to the United States. Before cars, before trains, this was the fastest way to get around on two wheels. And it's come a long way since its first inception. Made of complete wood with two wheels and handlebars to the high-speed races of the Tour de France. The bicycle has changed how we move, compete, and even think about freedom. We're going to roll back through the history and discover how a simple innovation sparked a global movement. As today, we're going to dive into an incredible story of how the bicycle changed at different turns to become the bicycle we know today and has brought the world closer together through innovation, courage, and speed. Let's go. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide, as you daily learn more about sports history, increasing your sports knowledge. So, to understand how the bike came about, it actually goes back to 1790. A Frenchman, Comte de Cirque, rode a two-wheeled wooden horse, as he called it. Now, this didn't have steering. It was just a block of wood connected to two wheels that you push in a similar way, but you had to stop to physically turn it. But it's even thought of that Leonardo da Vinci actually drew out an idea for a bicycle way back when he was around, the 19th century in Europe, as it was known as the year without a summer. It was a very cold because in 1816, Mount Tambora erupted. This eruption gave volcanic ash that was widespread and caused many crops to die. And because of that, horses, the main source of transportation, died as well, prompting new innovations to have to come about for alternatives. And in 1817, German Baron Karl von Drais unveiled his invention, the Laufmaschine, or the running machine, also called a dandy horse. Now, this machine had two wheels and was steerable and was made almost entirely of wood, weighing almost 50 pounds. It did include iron studs on the wheel and a rear wheel brake, and the front wheel could be steered with the handlebars. And it had a padded saddle for you to sit on, and you would push using your feet. Similar to the toddler bikes we see today to help them learn to ride. It has no pedals or anything. They just kind of push themselves along. It's very similar to that. But it does look like a basic form of a bicycle. If you saw a picture of it, you would be like, yeah, that looks like a wooden bicycle. And he debuted this by riding 8 miles in under an hour, which is impressive for the time being. And he would get it patented the following year, and he quickly garnered attention in Germany, France, and England. And people started to take his design and improve on it. They created curved frames with larger wheels, and they realized that riders preferred smooth pavements. And in the early 1860s, a Persian blacksmith, Pierre Mahoux, made a pivotal leap forward, attaching pedals to the front wheel and a crank, allowing the wheel to be pedaled instead of just pushed by your feet. And Pierre Lamont, a carriage builder, actually moved to the United States and patented it here in 1866, starting the craze of bicycles here. Now, this still was a basic wooden design using pedals in the front, but it was an advancement in production. And what they actually did was try to go away from wood and use metal for a more sturdy frame. And they actually used cast iron, which is one of the heaviest metals. And they created a bicycle frame out of cast iron with wooden wheels and iron tires. And one of these bikes would weigh over 100 pounds. It was very durable, but the ride quality was very bumpy. And these types of bikes were very common, and they actually became known as bone shakers. Because a lot of the streets back in England, a lot of the streets back in the day were made of bricks or cobblestone, which is very bumpy even if you ride on today's bikes or even cars. It's a very bumpy ride on those. But on a bicycle made of iron tires, it was called the bone shaker because you would literally shake as you would ride, and it would shake your bones, as they would say. And it was very uncomfortable. So this uncomfortability led to even more innovation. One way they did this was the penny-farthing bicycle, which is what we think of an old-style bicycle, the huge bike in front and the little tire in the back. And it was first created by a Frenchman in 1870s, Eugene Meyer. And in creating this, it made the bike lighter using wire spokes for tensions on the wheel. And it was called a penny-farthing bike because the large wheel resembled a British penny and the small wheel resembled a feathering coins. And the pedals would be attached to the very front axle which the bigger the tire meant one turn of the pedals meant you went even faster. So some of these petty feather bicycles could get up to 25 miles an hour on a flat surface. And they used a solid rubber tire, which created a smoother ride. It was a huge advancement to the metal tires that had been used before. Now, the biggest problem with the penny feather is that front tire was very high. It was hard to get on and off. And if you got the front tire caught on something or you hit something, you would likely take a header, as they call it, going headfirst over the handlebars, causing serious and sometimes fatal injuries. And Thomas Stevenson famously rode a penny feather bicycle across the world, over 12,000 miles, before 1900. It took him almost over a year to do, but it showed how durable and sturdy the penny feather was, but it quickly fell out of favor because of its unpracticality and how you could get injured very easily. And then we moved into what's known as the safety revolution, where there were some tricycle designs so that you were less likely to fall down, but the breakthrough came with a chain-driven rear wheel. Designed by Henry Lawson in 1876, created the safety bicycle, which had two similar-sized wheels, a diamond-shaped frame, direct front steering, a chain-driven rear wheel, and a lower center of gravity, which made it safer to stop because you could put your feet down when you had to stop. And they continued to tinker with this design, but this was the basic design that we even have today. Now, the chain has been updated, the designs have been updated, but this was a real step into what bicycle was today. And because it was so safe, as we considered then, it really kind of took off. And it especially took off when John Boyd Dunlap introduced a air-filled tire for rides on harsh, bumpy roads to make it smoother and faster. And this was introduced in 1888, and within 5 years, almost all bicycles used his tire. And that Dunlap name started the Dunlap Tire Company, which is still around to this day. And this innovation really made the bicycle what we know it today. So by 1893, bicycles are essentially what we would think of bicycles today. Had the same similar frame, similar tires, similar steering, but there have been innovations throughout this time. This wasn't exactly the bikes that we go to buy at the store today, but this really made a social impact and a bicycle boom across the world. It led to mass productions, which led to falling prices, and millions of new cyclists that couldn't afford a horse or a car could afford a bicycle and still get around to most places they needed to at the time. And then came racing. As we always know, we want to go fast and we want to see if we're faster than anyone else. And in 1899, Charles Mile-a-Minute Murphy achieved a legendary milestone, riding a mile in under 1 minute, doing it in under 58 seconds, going over 60 miles an hour, drafting behind a train, capturing the public's imagination, showcasing the speed potential of a bicycle. Now, it was probably a bumpy ride if it was behind a train, but it still showed how fast you could go as we continued to push the limit of speed, even in bicycles. And in 1903, the first Tour de France was ran and is now the most prestigious race in the world, running over 1,500 miles with multiple stages. And the bike got so popular that it was featured in both road and track events in the very first modern Olympics in 1896. As technology continued to grow, we continued to add little things or adjust things to the bicycle. The frames have become lighter weight, using lighter weight metals or even carbon fiber today. And it actually led to a movement that actually empowered women because it allowed women who weren't allowed to ride horses or own car, but it was viewed okay for women to ride a bicycle around. And it gave them more freedom and an athletic opportunity. And women's cycling actually debuted in the Olympics in the 1984 Olympics. And we've actually adjusted our bikes to be more specific to nowadays. Now we have mountain bikes which have a thicker tire and more shock absorbing and gears to allow us to have more fun and be able to ride almost anywhere. Then we also have speed bikes that are made for racing with thinner tires and a lighter frame to really focus on how much speed you can actually get. And then we also got bicycles that were more for doing tricks like BMX, where we can do flips and spins that many never thought would actually happen. And we're getting a bigger push for bicycles, even e-bikes, which are helpful to eliminate emissions that have been given out by the growth of cars in the industry. With an e-bike, you're able to achieve faster speeds with less effort to get around your towns. It can be very helpful to reduce noise and air pollution and road wear and make cities healthier to live by. Countries such as Netherlands and Denmark have seen lower obesity rates due to this higher rate of bicycles. But bicycles are a great sport, as over 2 billion bicycles are in use globally today. Maybe we can increase that just by grabbing our own bicycle too. I want to thank you for listening to today's Daily Sports History. If you like this, please share it with a friend. The best way for us to continue to grow is through word of mouth. So share the episode, say all the great history you're learning about, and the more you share, the more episodes I can do for you. And come back tomorrow for more Daily Sports History.